That's the way it is sometimes. And let's get into some of the actual sports news that we got going on right now. In the NBA, some coronavirus woes and worries as the Bucks shut down their facility. They're the latest of a few teams that have, though, Brett.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Denver, Brooklyn, Miami, the Clippers. So it's becoming a trend, and it's definitely not eye-opening. We've seen it in baseball; they've had to do it. So we've seen hockey teams, the Lightning have had to do it, and they've come back. So the NBA is certainly not the first or last that will deal with this issue, but they're getting ready to go into the bubble.
Well, and before they go into the bubble, they're starting to schedule potential scrimmages, I saw. They've just released some plans and some details about scrimmages that they wanted to do with the Magic and the Clippers. The NBA announced on Saturday a scrimmage at the the Disney World Resort with 33 games between July 22nd and 28th. So not only are they going to play their playoffs, there is going to be a little bit of a preseason, it seems, as well. But what does this mean for risk, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, you probably want to do this to test everything, like, and make sure that you can play a basketball game safe. So I think it's something that needs to be done, but obviously it increases the risk. Not to jump too far ahead, we saw the NFL Players Association vote on how they would recommend that not to play preseason games in order to minimize the risk. And to your point, obviously, putting three referees, all the coaches, all the players touching the same basketball, I'm sure the people working the scoreboard, all that stuff, yeah, you're gonna increase the risk by putting all those people together for a few hours.
Hopefully, it provides some clarity into the actual possibility of whether this is going to happen, Brett, because to be honest, I am starting to feel a little bit pessimistic on whether things are going to actually be contained enough to proceed forward with these scenarios by late July or August. I mean, it seems like there have been some recent flare ups and hotspots that who knows what opening these sports leagues could do. But, I mean, they're releasing these scrimmages. I think that could be an attempt, like you said, to test the waters a little bit. And maybe they test the waters, it doesn't go well, and it just gets shut right back down.
Well, asking if we should be playing versus asking if we want to play are two different things. And as we discussed on, was a theme on the last episode, a little cream. I think that applies here too, in the term of want more so than should.
Yes. Let's talk about the basketball that is going on right now, Brett. I mean, as we're recording on Sunday night, I'm watching the Armored Athlete versus the Power of the Paw going on right now. It's in the late third quarter. Athletes are winning 72 to 62, just so you know, by the way. But I know you were a little busy yesterday getting engaged, but some of this basketball was very interesting. I mean, the Mike Dom, like I mentioned, going off for House of Pain. What other teams did you like in terms of their early outputs?
I mean, I thought CP3 was the better team, and they won. They didn't cover, so they're not great. They're only an okay team.
Primetime played well though early on in that game. I watched the first half of that game or
Yeah,
so.
I mean, whoever played Stillwater was obviously the most impressive team, no doubt about it. They won by 15 points.
Yes. But we also saw, I mean, you broke this to me right before that there has been another positive case in the TBT and a team is no longer going to be participating.
So yeah, Eberline Drive was actually had a positive test and was removed from the tournament.
And this is very big news, Brett. It's a single player that tested positive. Everline Drive hasn't played anybody yet. Team of Brotherly Love beat Stillwater Stars down 87 to 71. That's the team that you were
Khalif
saying
Wyatt, yeah.
probably had the most impressive performance. They played very well, and because of this positive test now, they advance instantly to the quarterfinals.
I would say that's a nice advantage there.
I'd say that's a very big advantage. Yeah.
And hopefully they could stay healthy and not get any positive tests. So, I mean, if this is what you have to do, um, for I don't know what to call it, a league or a tournament with the budget of the TBT to ensure that it can go on. I understand, but you can't just throw out the Spurs.
Yeah, this wouldn't work in the NBA at all. Eberline Drive, they were the 5 seed, so Stillwater Drives would advance in that scenario, and that means that they would end up facing the winner of the Golden Eagles versus Team CP3. Golden Eagles are the 4 seed; it's the Marquette team, so a big advantage in terms of preparation and of scouting and everything. It's one less game that your opponent's going to get to see of brotherly love in the quarterfinals. You only get to work off of one game of film. It's I. It's an interesting advantage. I understand why the TBT is doing it. It's a very proactive way of handling things. It's a very smart way of doing it. But you have a very good point. In the NBA, if one player on the Spurs or on the Clippers or on whatever team tests positive, is that team going to just be gone, or does it get postponed until they can play a game? How long can this potentially drag out? Is a big potential
Yeah, well,
factor.
we've seen in the MLS, FC Dallas had all those positive tests, and what they've done is try and postpone the games. In the women's soccer league, we saw a team with all the positive tests get thrown out, similarly to the Everline Drive situation. So it's a league by league thing. And it'll be interesting to see how the NBA handles it. I Part of me thinks the bubble thing is better than the travel scenario. I do think being in a controlled environment is better than everyone hopping on planes and hotels and going city from city. And I don't know, that just feels more risky, but there's no perfect system, Higgins.
There really isn't, and that's why I think it'll also be interesting to see how college athletics is going to work out. We did get some big news out of college basketball with 5-star Makur Maker declaring he's going to play at Howard this year. He's going to school this year. He's 19 years old. If the last name Maker sounds familiar with you, that's because he's related to another 7-footer named Thon Maker. But committing to Howard, a 5-star athlete, a powerhouse of a basketball player, very interesting move, Brett.
Yeah, congratulations to McCurr Maker. Good luck this year. And I'm a big fan of the move. I support him. He's going to talk more about it on July 9th on ESPN. And he mentioned that it's South Sudan Independence Day, and that's a day of importance to him. And I look forward to hearing him talk more about his decision. We've seen other recruits start to look at HBCUs as well. Mikey Williams, most notably, has been very active on his social media, stating that he would like to go to an HBCU. He's probably the second highest rated high school recruit in the country right now, regardless of class. At
Which is insane because he's a class of
Yeah,
2023.
insanely talented kid. And Josh Christopher, also in this year's recruiting class, was looking at Howard as well. Now, he ended up committing to Arizona State, where his brother also attends. So that may have played a role, but. It's a new wave here, Higgins, and I'm all for these kids doing what they think is best for them.
I absolutely think that's a very good move for him. I think he's a 7-footer. He can flourish wherever he wants. And if the coaching and the system and the facilities there he likes and he thinks it can help take him to the next level, then that's the move that he should make. And Howard is a fantastic school academically, so that is obviously a very good decision as well. And you have to factor in those academics as well into this decision as much as you can, honestly. But it is very interesting. You mentioned the Mikey Williams scenario. There's a few other players. There's been some past players in multiple sports that have been from HBCUs. I know of a few football players. Brett, I know you wanted to ask me about the NBA one, but I honestly don't know. So can you please just tell me?
Okay, so the last player to be drafted to the NBA out of an HBCU is, drumroll please, Kyle O'Quinn in 2012, Norfolk State.
Okay. 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 That I would not have ever guessed that. I can tell you that right now. I would not have
Well,
known that. That is
there you go. It's a fairly notable accomplishment, and I hope McCurmaker can be next.
yes, absolutely.